Welcome back, everybody. This is our final video in the Learning FreeBSD series, and this is the culmination video. This is where we're going to take our system and we are going to make it possible for us to use the graphical user interface within FreeBSD to run a desktop. And by the time we're done here, we're going to have the ability to use the mouse. We're going to have the ability to open applications if we're interested in doing so, and we're going to run a desktop environment, and that desktop environment is going to be one of the older, more traditional ones. It's going to be very sparse, but the whole purpose here is just to get a system up and running in a usable state. So to get started, we're going to log in over SSH, and then we're going to start the process. The first thing that we're going to do is sudo package install Xorg, so that's X-ray Oscar Romeo Golf. And this is going to be rather large. I think it's like 157 individual packages or something like that that we're going to be installing. So we are going to 175. So we're going to choose yes. It's going to take approximately 2 gigabytes of space. So this is rather heavy. It's a little big. But when that is finished, and I have all of my instructions here right now. So we will be able to go through here following all of the instructions that I have created, and then by the time we are done, we're going to have a working system in which we'll be able to use it. Now that you may notice on the left side of the screen right now, I have Vert Machine open, and you can see I haven't logged in yet, but I am running a terminal emulator here within Vert Machine. I know I've always told you we should be using SSH, but for the purpose of this video, we got to go back in there so that we can set this up so that we have access to startx and Xorg and all of the things that we're going to need. Without that, what you can do is called Ssh X Forwarding. So you can actually, if you're on like a Linux machine and you have access to X and you can SSH into the box, then you can run graphical user interface based applications over SSH, and it kind of works almost like VNC in a way. Your connection into the box via SSH allows you to run graphical user interface based applications like Firefox or something similar, and then all the behavior that you're doing on your computer locally is effectively just pushed up to that computer wherever it is located remotely, and then you just get kind of this video where you can see everything. It works okay. It's not incredibly great. Depends on the application, I think. Um, it's not the best, though. I'm going to put that out there. You're almost invariably going to be better served by simply using SSH. Learn how to do things in the terminal. Do your best to get away from the necessity of having a graphical user interface when working on a system, and I think you will almost always do better. We've talked about it a little bit before, but I will reiterate this point while we're waiting for these items to install here. You want to have a baseline method by which you interact with systems regardless of what that system is. So everything here is now installed. I'm going to do sudo su so that I can bump myself up to root. And then, oh, that was not what I wanted. I'm going to go here. We don't want to use your user. We want to use our name. So I'm going to put Aaron Jones, Aaron J here. J. Hit enter. Come back here. And then I will need to edit our bootloader. And we're going to add the following. Boot conf. And just for the sake of what I'm doing, I'm going to do that. Close that. Next thing that we will do is we're going to add another package. This package is going to be drm-kmod. So we'll do that. We'll say yes. That shouldn't take too long, and the installation should be pretty quick. I have an AMD GPU, so I'm going to use this piece right here where it says KLD_list equals AMD GPU. If you have an Intel-based processor, you can use i915 KMS. If you have something like a Radeon, you can use Radeon KMS. And I am going to edit the file that they want us to edit the file that they would like us to edit, which will be the etsy rc.conf. Down here to the bottom, add that, close that. Sorry. We're going to install this piece. This is utouch-kmod and input-evdev. Here and dump this, and then it's actually going to, at the very, very bottom, it's going to give us some stuff that we need to edit, and we will do that next. So it says add this utouch load equals yes to the bootloader conf file. So the bootloader.conf, and dump that in there. And we have done all that, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to reboot the box. You can see over here on the left that that reboot is now happening. And we can kind of monitor along as the system sets itself up. So allow that to load. And then we're actually going to log into the system one more time, and we're going to do sudo package install, and I'm going to choose Firefox. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to install the Firefox package very quickly. And then when that is done, we will start up the machine. We will start X, and then we will go in and check if Firefox loads. And if it does, then we have a successfully running system. And I have done this on real hardware. Actually, in my opinion, it was a lot easier in real hardware. There's less steps that you have to do to get it to work under like a ThinkPad, which is what I did. Took a ThinkPad and put it on there, and FreeBSD worked just fine. You can use it as a desktop environment if you would like to. It is going to be more difficult, and you're going to have less access to some of the stuff that you might want, but it is available for you to learn on, and that is another reason why I state there is no reason why you should not put it inside of a virtual machine. Just virtualize it and then start that practice. Start training yourself on how to use this and get used to using it in a virtualized environment, and then from there you can move on to eventually perhaps buying yourself a more modern ThinkPad, throwing Linux on that, and then having yourself spend that time to really familiarize yourself with these operating systems. So this is going. Log into this box, and then we are going to be able to start X very, very soon. which is exactly what I want to be able to do. I just want to wait until the installation over here is done. But if you notice here, I'm connecting to the machine in multiple methods. I have what is about to be our graphical user interface off to the left. I still have SSH connection over here to the right. Configuration work is being done. I can work inside both of these methods of accessing the system. Nothing prevents you from being able to use the box, right? Which is the most important piece. So everything's being extracted now. We're at 74. Everything seems to be done here. I can now hit startx. We have a desktop environment. We have a functioning mouse. I can type in htop here. Htop works, so that's a command line interface based application. And now, for the moment of truth, we're going to type in Firefox, and Firefox is loaded. And we can go to, let's try uat.searchx. Actually, searchx.uatsock.us. Does it work? It's loading. Everything seems to be working. Hello world in C. And we have a fully functioning browser. This window manager system here is not the world's best. This is kind of it's what comes with X. You can go out and you can get yourself a copy of something like XFCE, and you could set up XFCE if you wanted to. I am not going to do that for the purposes of this video. All I wanted you to do is just get to the point where you can load something like Firefox, and it will visibly work. And then if we want to exit out of this, we would just left click, and this is TWM. If you're curious, TWM is the name of the window manager. So I can exit, and then come here, exit, and now we're right back to where we started. So the X server works, applications work, browser works. We have demonstrated that we have a functional Unix-based machine that could potentially be used as a desktop, and it did not take very long to accomplish that at all. So thank you for joining me through this entire project. Expect more content related to Linux, related to Unix, related to computing on a whole. There's a whole bunch of plans that I have related to how I'm going to create these videos and all of the work that I'm going to be doing to make sure that I bring you the best content I can. And if you want to do me a tremendous favor at the end of this video, once this all closes down, if you want to subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Right now, I've got about 100 subscribers, and I'm looking to reach 500. So if you want to help me reach that goal, I would appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. Have a great one.